The alien woman was very surprised when she realized I still carried her childhood photo with me. The planet's atmosphere smelled faintly of honey and rain, a combination so sweet and fresh that it made his chest fill with excitement. For years, humanity had dreamed of finding a planet with signs of intelligent life, and now, standing at the edge of a glowing forest, Elliot felt that dream had finally come true. The sky above was a swirl of colors he had never seen before, deep purples melting into golds and blues, with tiny floating lights drifting lazily as if the air itself were alive. Elliot scanned the horizon. The city he had been sent to explore lay ahead, nestled between two hills covered in iridescent plants. From a distance, the city looked like it had grown out of the land itself, tall spires of crystal and metal stretching skyward, reflecting the rainbow colors above. Elliot adjusted the strap of his bag again. Inside it were cameras, scanners, a notebook, and something very personal, a small, slightly worn photograph tucked into a corner. He always carried it with him. On it was the image of a little alien girl with bright, curious eyes and a shy smile. He didn't know why he had kept it for so long, but he felt a strange connection to her, a memory that refused to fade. He started walking toward the city. The ground beneath him was soft, almost springy, covered in plants that glowed faintly with bioluminescence. As he stepped, the plants pulsed lightly under his feet, giving him the feeling that the planet itself was alive and aware of him. A group of alien beings appeared on a nearby path. Elliot froze. They were taller than humans, their skin shimmering faintly in the sunlight, and their eyes were large and luminous, reflecting every color in the spectrum. Their movements were graceful, almost dance-like. Elliot raised his hand in a cautious greeting. One of them, a female with golden blue skin, stepped forward. Her eyes were bright, filled with curiosity. "Greetings, traveler," she said, her voice melodic and gentle. "You are far from your home world." Elliot smiled, relieved that the translator device on his wrist was working. "Yes, I'm Elliot Kane from Earth. I come in peace. I'm here to learn about your world." The alien tilted her head slightly, studying him. "I am Lyra," she said. "You are brave to come here alone." Elliot laughed softly. "Curious is more like it. I've always wanted to see what life beyond my planet looks like." Lyra's eyes widened slightly, and she looked at him with something like recognition, though Elliot had never met her before. She gestured for him to follow her down a path lined with glowing flowers. "Come with me. You will see the heart of our city, but beware, our people are cautious with strangers." As they walked, Elliot took in everything. The city was alive in ways that humans could hardly imagine. Buildings twisted and curved in organic shapes, walls covered with vines that glowed at night, windows made from a material that shimmered like liquid crystal. Every so often, the aliens paused to touch the walls or leaves, and the structures responded, pulsing with light as if greeting them. "Your world is beautiful," Elliot said. "It's unlike anything I've ever seen." Lyra smiled faintly. "Lumira is our home. We care for it deeply." "Every plant, every stone has a purpose. Every being is connected." Elliot nodded, feeling a deep respect for the planet. "On Earth, we are still learning to do that. Sometimes it feels like we take more than we give." Lyra's eyes softened. "Perhaps that is why you are here. To learn, to change, perhaps even to teach us something of your people." They reached a wide, open square where hundreds of Lunari were gathered. Elliot noticed the variety among them. Their skin shimmered in colors ranging from deep indigo to pale gold. Some were tall, others short. Some moved slowly, others with great speed. Despite the differences, all shared a similar elegance, as if their movements were a form of language itself. Elliot felt a mixture of awe and nervousness. He had never seen such diversity and grace. He fumbled with his translator device to make sure he could understand anything. Lyra noticed him staring at a small figure across the square. "Do you see her?" she asked, her voice calm but slightly curious. Elliot turned, and his heart skipped a beat. Standing by a glowing fountain was a small girl who looked familiar. Her hair was dark and flowing, her eyes wide and shining with curiosity. Elliot reached into his bag and carefully pulled out the small photograph. Lyra gasped softly when she saw it. Her eyes widened in disbelief, and she covered her mouth with her hand. That is me," she said quietly. Elliot blinked. You recognize her?" "Yes," Lyra whispered, her voice trembling slightly. "I haven't seen this in years. Why do you have it?" Elliot took a deep breath. "I met you once long ago when you were a child. You were in danger, and I helped you. I never forgot." Lyra's eyes filled with tears of surprise and wonder. I thought no one remembered. I thought it was all lost. Elliot shook his head. I remembered. I carried your photo with me all this time. I didn't know if I would ever see you again. For a moment, they just looked at each other, separated by years, yet connected by memory. Elliot felt a warmth in his chest, a human feeling of hope and persistence. He realized that even across galaxies, humans could leave marks that mattered, that could touch lives deeply. Lyra finally smiled, a soft, shy smile that mirrored the photo in his hand. I don't know what to say, she whispered. This is incredible. You remember me after all these years? I do, Elliot said simply. I promised myself I wouldn't forget. Lyra nodded, her eyes glistening. Then you must come with me. There is much to show you, much to explain. You have come far, Elliot Kane, and now you must see our world properly. Elliot followed her through winding streets, each corner revealing new wonders. He saw children playing in streams of glowing water, elders painting patterns of light in the air, and marketplaces filled with foods and items he could not even name. Everywhere he looked, he felt the energy of life, of a civilization that thrived on curiosity, creativity, and connection. As the sun of Lumira dipped lower, casting a golden glow over the city, Elliot realized something profound. This planet was not just beautiful, it was alive in every sense. Its people, its plants, its buildings, all were part of a living system that valued harmony and care. And here he was, a human, a stranger, yet somehow part of it all. That evening, as they reached Lyra's home, she paused and looked at him. Elliot, she said softly, I never expected to see the human who remembered me. You have made a difference in my life just by remembering. Perhaps humans are not only curious, they are capable of great loyalty and compassion. Elliot smiled, feeling a deep pride. We try, he said. We try to make the universe a little better, one person at a time. Lyra looked at him for a long moment. Then stay with me tonight. Learn our ways, share your stories. Perhaps together we can learn more than either of us imagined. And as Elliot stepped into her home, he realized that his journey had only just begun. The photograph in his pocket felt warmer now, not just a memory of the past, but a key to a future full of possibilities, friendships, and discoveries that no human could have ever imagined. The night fell over Lumira, the city glowing softly under the alien sky. Elliot lay awake in a small guest chamber, staring out at the stars. For the first time in his life, he felt completely at home in a world so unlike his own. Somewhere out there, humanity had reached far and wide, but here, in this luminous city, Elliot understood that what truly mattered was not just how far humans could travel, but how deeply they could connect. And for Elliot Kane, the connection with Lyra was just the beginning. The morning sun of Lumira filtered through the translucent walls of Lyra's home, painting the room in soft shades of gold and violet. Elliot Kane awoke to the gentle hum of the city outside, a sound that was unlike anything he had ever heard on Earth. It was a mixture of voices, musical tones, and a quiet resonance that seemed to vibrate with life itself. He rubbed his eyes and looked around. The room was simple but elegant, made from materials that seemed alive. The walls pulsed faintly, responding to his movements, and soft plants hung from the ceiling, their glow brightening the space. Lyra entered carrying a tray of food that smelled sweet and savory at the same time. Good morning, she said, smiling. I hope you slept well. Elliot sat up, feeling a little awkward. I did, very well actually. Your home, it's amazing. I've never seen anything like it. Lyra chuckled softly. It is designed to be comfortable for all beings, including humans, I suppose. But more importantly, it is alive. Every wall, every plant, every object responds to those within it. We do not separate ourselves from our environment. We are part of it. Elliot nodded, intrigued. On Earth, we are still learning that. We often take too much and give too little back, but seeing this, it makes me want to try harder. Lyra's expression softened. That is why you were remembered, Elliot Kane. Humans are curious, yes, but they also remember. You remembered a child you once helped. That is not common even among the Lunari. You carried a memory with care. That alone makes a difference. Elliot felt a warm glow in his chest. I didn't think it would matter after all these years. I never imagined I'd find her. Well, you again. Lyra placed the tray on a small table. Then you must tell me, how did you remember? What did you feel all these years? Elliot took a deep breath and began to speak. I was part of a humanitarian mission. We went to a small, hidden settlement on a distant world. There were children there, lost, scared, without hope. You were one of them. I don't remember why exactly, but something made me promise to protect you. And then I left. I thought I'd never see you again, but I kept your photo with me just in case. Lyra listened silently, her eyes reflecting the soft glow of the morning light. When Elliot finished, she reached out and touched his hand. I never knew. I never imagined anyone would remember me after so long. I thought I was forgotten. Elliot shook his head. Never, you were always in my memory. I kept you safe there. Lyra's eyes welled with tears, and for the first time, Elliot saw vulnerability in someone so confident, so graceful. Then perhaps, humans are more capable of kindness than I believed. Your memory, your care have shaped me without you even knowing it. Elliot felt a lump in his throat. And you've shaped me too. Finding you here, it makes all the years of searching and wondering worth it. After a moment of quiet, Lyra smiled and gestured toward the window. Come, I want to show you something. Something only a few outsiders have ever seen. Elliot followed her outside, stepping into the soft glow of the city morning. The streets were alive with activity. Children floated along streams of glowing water, their laughter echoing in musical tones. Elders painted intricate patterns in the air that shimmered like liquid light. Vendors displayed colorful fruits and objects that changed shape depending on who looked at them. Elliot watched in awe, absorbing every detail. Lyra led him to a large building at the center of the city. Its walls were made of crystal that reflected every color of the sky, and the doors seemed to open themselves as they approached. This is the Hall of Memories, Lyra explained. It is a place where we keep records of our lives, our history, and our connections with others. Few humans have seen it, but I believe you should. Elliot stepped inside, his eyes widening. The hall was vast, with walls lined with shimmering panels that displayed images, sounds, and even emotions. Each panel represented a life, a memory, or a story. Some showed individuals learning, others sharing, and others simply existing in moments of joy. Elliot could feel the energy of the memories, each one vibrant and real. Lyra guided him to a panel glowing softly with golden light. This one, she said, is yours in a way, the memory of you protecting a child, of carrying care across time and space. It is rare for a human to leave such a mark, but you have. Elliot stared at the panel. The images flickered, showing a small alien child, frightened and alone, being helped by a human figure. The memory was alive, almost as if it remembered him remembering it. Elliot felt a shiver run down his spine. I don't know what to say, he whispered. You don't need to say anything, Lyra said gently. Actions speak louder than words. You have shown us that humans, despite their distance, can make deep and lasting connections. Elliot felt a sense of pride and humility. He realized that the photograph he had kept in his pocket was not just a memory. It was a bridge between worlds, a testament to the power of care and remembrance. They walked further into the hall, and Lyra began showing him other memories. He saw children learning under the guidance of elders, people creating art that could be felt as well as seen, and moments of simple joy that seemed to radiate warmth. Elliot noticed something remarkable. Every memory, every life was connected. One action influenced another, creating a web of care, learning, and understanding. Lyra turned to him. This is the essence of Lumira. We do not live in isolation. Every act of kindness, every decision affects others. We are stronger together, and we are responsible for one another. Elliot nodded slowly. It's beautiful. On Earth, we often forget that. We focus on ourselves, on what we can take. But seeing this, it makes me want to do better. Lyra smiled. Then perhaps your presence here is not by chance. Perhaps humans have lessons to offer us as well. Your memory, your care, your willingness to bridge worlds, these are rare qualities. We can learn from you just as you can learn from us. Elliot felt a deep sense of purpose. He had come to Lumira to observe, to document, to learn. But now he realized that he was also a teacher in a small but meaningful way. By remembering, by caring, he had created a connection that transcended species, worlds, and time. As they left the Hall of Memories, Lyra guided Elliot through a part of the city he had not yet seen. There were gardens that floated in the air, their plants glowing softly in response to touch. There were waterways that twisted and turned like living ribbons of light. Elliot marveled at everything, taking careful notes and sketches, but he kept glancing at Lyra. She is remarkable, he thought, not just for what she is, but for what she has become, and somehow I have been part of that journey without even realizing it. Lyra noticed his thoughtful expression and smiled. You carry memories with you, Elliot Kane. That is why you see the world differently. That is why you are capable of understanding us. They reached a quiet courtyard where a small fountain bubbled with water that shimmered in every color of the rainbow. Lyra gestured for Elliot to sit. Here, you can rest. But I want you to understand something important. On Lumira, memories are not just records. They are living parts of us. They teach, they guide, they connect. Your memory of me as a child, it has guided me, shaped me, even when I did not know it. Elliot sat down, feeling the truth of her words. Then what I did mattered more than I thought. I thought it was just a small action, a fleeting moment, but it changed a life. Lyra nodded. It changed more than one life, and it shows the power of humans. You may not have our longevity, our memory halls, or our glowing cities, but you have something perhaps even more rare, the ability to care deeply, to remember, and to act. That is what makes humans extraordinary. Elliot felt a sense of humility and pride mingled together. He realized that his journey to Lumira was not just about exploration. It was about connection, understanding, and the impact one life can have on another. As the sun rose higher in the Lumiran sky, Elliot knew that his story with Lyra and her people had only just begun. The photograph in his pocket was no longer just a memory. It was a symbol of a bridge between worlds, proof that humanity could leave a lasting mark even across galaxies. And in that moment, Elliot Kane understood something profound. The true measure of a being, human or alien, was not in power, speed, or technology, but in the ability to remember, to care, and to connect. For the first time, he felt the weight and joy of responsibility, and he welcomed it. The day stretched ahead, filled with promise, discoveries, and the knowledge that what humans could offer the universe was far greater than mere exploration. It was the gift of memory, care, and hope. Elliot Kane woke to another brilliant sunrise on Lumira. The city outside Lyra's home glowed softly in shades of pink and gold. Birds, if they could be called birds, flew through the sky, leaving trails of light like ribbons behind them. The air smelled sweet and fresh, carrying the scent of strange flowers and warm soil. Elliot felt alive in a way he had never experienced on Earth. Every morning here was a reminder that the universe was far bigger and far more beautiful than humans could imagine. Lyra greeted him with a smile. "Good morning, Elliot. Today I will show you more of our city and our culture. You must see what makes Lumira truly special." Elliot adjusted his backpack. "I can't wait. I've already seen so much, but somehow I feel like I've only just scratched the surface." Lyra chuckled. "You have only begun to understand. Follow me." They walked through streets that seemed alive. Buildings curved and twisted, grown rather than built, their walls shimmering like glass but soft to the touch. Children played in streams of glowing water that floated above the ground, their laughter like tiny musical notes. Elliot watched in amazement as some of the water streams moved gently toward the children, forming bridges and slides that adapted to their movements. "Your city, it's incredible," Elliot said. "Everything seems to respond to life, to people." Lyra nodded. "Lumira is a living city. We do not separate ourselves from our environment. We are part of it, and it is part of us. Every structure, every plant, every system works together. Balance is important." Elliot observed a group of Lunari working on what appeared to be a bridge. Unlike human bridges, this one glowed faintly and shifted slightly as if breathing. When a Lunari touched it, the bridge stabilized. When they released their hands, it relaxed. Elliot realized it was alive, reacting to those who used it. "How do you do this?" he asked. "On Earth, our technology is powerful, but it is not alive." Lyra smiled. "You could say we have learned to communicate with life in ways your people have not yet discovered. Our technology is not separate from nature. It grows, responds, and heals. Perhaps you will teach us something in return." Elliot felt a surge of pride. He had come to Lumira as a student, but now he realized he might also be a teacher. "I will try," he said. "Humans are good at problem-solving in unexpected ways. Sometimes, even if we do not have the most advanced tools, we find solutions with creativity and determination." Lyra led him to a large, open plaza where Lunari were gathering. Some were sculpting glowing structures from sand-like materials that floated in the air. Others were painting patterns in the sky, patterns that shimmered and changed color depending on who looked at them. The plaza itself seemed alive, glowing softly beneath their feet. "This is the place of creation," Lyra explained. "Here we share ideas, art, and knowledge. Everyone contributes, no matter their age or experience." What you create here is not permanent in the usual sense, but it leaves an impression on the city and the people. That impression lasts in memory and energy. Elliot looked around, fascinated. It's like a living gallery. Everything you do has meaning, even if it is temporary. Exactly, Lyra said, and now you will participate. Elliot hesitated. Me, I'm not an artist. Lyra smiled. You are human, that is more than enough. She guided him to a space where small, floating crystals hovered in the air. Touch them, she instructed. Let your feelings guide you. Elliot reached out. When his fingers brushed the crystal, it began to glow with soft, golden light. As he moved his hands, the crystals shifted, forming shapes that reflected his thoughts and emotions, curiosity, wonder, and a touch of nervous excitement. He realized that on Lumira, expression was not limited to words. Feeling itself could shape reality. Lyra watched with admiration. See, you are already teaching us. You think differently than we do, and that brings new life to our city. Your perspective matters. Elliot smiled, feeling a mixture of humility and pride. He had never imagined that simply being himself could have such an impact. After their time in the place of creation, Lyra took Elliot to a culinary plaza where Lunari foods were displayed. The dishes glowed softly, and the scents were incredible. Some dishes shifted flavor depending on who tasted them. Elliot hesitated at first, unsure what to try. Try this, Lyra said, offering a small, glowing orb. It adapts to your taste. You will experience flavors you never imagined. Elliot bit into the orb, his eyes widened. The taste changed with every second, a combination of sweet, savory, and tangy sensations that made his senses dance. This is amazing, he said, laughing. On Earth, food is just food. Here, it's an experience. Lyra laughed with him. Food, art, and life itself are experiences. We do not separate them. Everything is connected. As they walked through the city after breakfast, Elliot noticed Lunari children playing with small, hovering machines. The machines seemed to respond to the children's movements, learning and adapting as they played. Elliot bent down to examine one. Curious, isn't it? Lyra said. Even our youngest learn through interaction. The machines adapt to them, and the children adapt to the machines. It is a balance, Elliot nodded. On Earth, we try to teach machines, but we often forget that learning can go both ways. Maybe that is why your technology seems so alive. Lyra smiled. Exactly. Learning and teaching are not separate. They are part of the same process. Perhaps humans are discovering this now, but it is natural for us. And perhaps your perspective will help us grow in ways we cannot yet see. They reached a library unlike any Elliot had ever seen. Instead of rows of books, there were floating orbs of light, each containing knowledge, history, or art. Elliot reached out to touch one, and it expanded into a holographic scene of Lumira's history. He saw the planet in earlier times, its people learning, growing, and connecting with their environment. He realized that the Lunari had preserved their culture not only through records, but through living memories. This is incredible, he whispered. On Earth, we have books and recordings, but nothing like this. Your history feels alive, like it is breathing. Lyra nodded. That is the goal. Knowledge is not static. It grows as we grow. And your memory, your care for a child, has become part of our story as well. You are part of it now, Elliot Kane. Elliot felt a mixture of awe and humility. He had traveled across the stars to explore, to learn, and yet he had found something far more meaningful. The realization that humans could connect, teach, and leave a mark on the universe not through force or conquest, but through empathy, creativity, and memory. As they continued their walk, Lyra showed him the city's gardens, where plants responded to thought and emotion. Elliot could make flowers bloom simply by imagining them, and streams of water shifted gently when he wished them to move. He felt a deep sense of connection, not only to the city but to the universe itself. You are learning quickly, Lyra said, smiling. But there is more. I want you to meet the elders. They will teach you the deeper ways of Lumira, the balance of life and memory, and how we sustain ourselves as a society without harm. Elliot nodded eagerly. He had learned much in a short time, but he wanted to understand more. Humans had achieved much on Earth, but seeing a society that lived in perfect harmony with its environment made him realize that there was so much more to learn. As they approached a large hall surrounded by glowing trees, Elliot could see the elders waiting. They were older, their skin shimmering more subtly, their eyes filled with wisdom. When they saw him, they smiled and Lyra introduced him. This is Elliot Kane, a human who remembers and cares, she said. He has crossed the stars to learn from us and perhaps to teach us as well. The elders looked at him with curiosity and respect. "Welcome, Elliot Kane," one said in a voice that vibrated gently. "You carry something rare. You bring memory, care, and the willingness to learn. That is more valuable than technology, more powerful than any tool." Elliot felt a deep sense of honor. "Thank you. I have much to learn, and I hope I can also share what humans have discovered." The elders nodded. "Humans have a unique gift, the ability to act, to remember, and to care across distances, even across worlds. You have shown that already. Come, we will show you more." And so Elliot Kane spent the day learning from the elders, observing the city and participating in activities that blended art, science, and emotion. He realized that humans, though young compared to the Lunari, carried gifts that were deeply meaningful: curiosity, creativity, empathy, and determination. By the end of the day, Elliot felt a sense of belonging he had never experienced before. Lumira was not just a city, it was a living, breathing community, and somehow humans could contribute to it, not with power but with heart. As the stars began to appear in the sky above Lumira, Elliot turned to Lyra. "I never imagined that humans could have such an impact here simply by being ourselves. But now I understand. Curiosity, care, memory, these are powerful gifts." Lyra smiled. "And you, Elliot Kane, are a reminder to all of us that even across the stars, beings can connect, learn, and grow together. That is the greatest power of all." Elliot looked up at the stars, feeling hope and purpose fill him. He had traveled far, and he had found more than a city or a culture. He had found the truth of what humanity could offer the universe: connection, empathy, and the courage to remember and care. For Elliot Kane, the journey was only beginning. The morning on Lumira began like any other, soft sunlight spilling across the city, illuminating the floating gardens and glowing buildings. Elliot Kane woke early, eager to continue learning from Lyra and the Lunari. But as he stepped outside, a strange tension hung in the air. The usual gentle hum of the city seemed unsettled, flickering like a candle about to go out. Lyra met him at the doorway, her eyes serious. "Elliot, we have a problem," she said. "The energy grids that power the city are unstable. If they fail, the entire city will lose balance. Plants, buildings, and even the water flows will be affected." Elliot frowned. "Energy grids? How could that happen? I thought your systems were alive." "They are," Lyra said, gesturing to the glowing city around them. "But even living systems can face unexpected stress. Something has disrupted the energy flow, and we cannot stabilize it quickly enough on our own." Elliot's mind raced. On Earth, he had worked with power systems, generators, and adaptive networks. "Maybe I can help," he said. "I don't know your technology fully, but humans are good at creative problem-solving. If you show me the system, we can work together." Lyra nodded. "We have prepared a path to the central hub. Follow me." They moved quickly through streets now humming with a subtle vibration, a warning signal for the citizens. Elliot noticed people pausing in their work, observing the sky, and adjusting their glowing tools in small, careful motions. Everything on Lumira was connected. Every action had an effect, and the imbalance had begun to ripple through the city. The central hub was an enormous open structure filled with hovering panels of light, streams of glowing energy flowing like rivers through the walls. Elliot's eyes widened. "It's beautiful, but I can see why it's delicate. How do you usually stabilize it?" Lyra gestured to a panel that pulsed erratically. "We rely on collective energy and focus. Each Lunari contributes to the balance, adjusting flow with thought and intention. Normally this is enough, but the disruption is too large." Elliot studied the streams of energy, tracing their paths with his eyes. "I think I see a pattern," he said slowly. "The flow is blocked in several areas, causing pressure in others. On Earth, we use bypass systems to redirect flow temporarily. Maybe we can do something similar, even if it's not exactly the same." Lyra looked at him with curiosity. "Bypass systems? How do they work?" Elliot smiled faintly. "We create an alternative path for the energy to move, giving the system time to recover. It doesn't fix the root cause, but it prevents collapse while we stabilize it." Lyra nodded. "Then let us try your method. You will guide us and we will follow. Our systems may be alive, but humans think in ways we do not." Working together, Elliot and the Lunari adjusted the flow of energy. Elliot directed the movements, suggesting ways to redirect the streams without disrupting the city's balance. The Lunari followed his instructions carefully, combining their ability to sense the energy with his human understanding of logic and problem-solving. It was slow work. Elliot's hands moved over the glowing panels, his mind racing to calculate pressure, flow, and balance. Lyra stayed by his side, touching panels and guiding citizens to contribute. "You are remarkable," she said quietly. "Even without understanding our systems fully, you see the problem clearly." Elliot shook his head. "Humans are good at seeing patterns." "Sometimes that's all you need." Hours passed. The tension in the city grew, but Elliot and the Lunari continued their work. They rerouted energy streams, stabilized fluctuations, and slowly restored balance. The citizens watched, hope returning to their movements as the system responded to the coordinated effort. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the energy grids hummed steadily. The streams of light in the walls glowed evenly, the water flowed smoothly, and the plants responded with gentle pulses. The city's balance was restored. Lyra exhaled, a mixture of relief and admiration on her face. "You did it," she said. "I cannot believe a human helped save the city." Elliot smiled, wiping sweat from his forehead. "We did it together. Humans alone could not have managed this. It was your people's connection to the city that made it possible." Lyra nodded. "Still, your creativity, your willingness to act in a moment of need, that was extraordinary. Perhaps humans are not only observers, perhaps they can truly be partners with us." Elliot felt a warm pride. He had traveled across the stars to learn, but now he realized that humans could teach as well. Their ability to adapt, to think quickly, and to apply creative solutions could complement even the most advanced systems in the galaxy. The city began to return to normal. Lunari children laughed as they played in the restored water streams, elders resumed their work in gardens, and the hum of the city became gentle and steady once again. Lyra turned to Elliot. "Come, we must report to the elders. They will want to know what happened and how it was resolved." They entered the elder hall. The elders observed Elliot with a mixture of curiosity and respect. Lyra explained the situation, emphasizing Elliot's role in stabilizing the grids. One elder spoke, her voice soft but powerful. "A human has aided us in a crisis. This is rare. You have shown courage, intelligence, and a capacity for cooperation. These are qualities we value deeply." Elliot bowed his head slightly. "Thank you, I am honored." "I only wish to help," another elder added. "You have proven that humans, even without understanding every detail of our systems, can contribute in meaningful ways. There is much for us to learn from one another." Lyra smiled at Elliot. "See, even they are impressed. You have done more than stabilize the city. You have shown the power of human ingenuity and empathy." Elliot felt a sense of humility. He had acted out of instinct and experience, yet the Lunari's response made him realize that humans had abilities that could complement even advanced alien civilizations. The lesson was clear. Courage, creativity, and care were universal values. Later, as Elliot walked with Lyra through the restored city, she spoke softly. "You may not know it, Elliot, but today you have left a mark on Lumira, not just in the city's energy grids, but in our hearts. We will remember this." Elliot smiled. "I will remember it too. Humans carry memories, just like you. That is how we leave our mark, through action and remembrance." They reached a quiet garden filled with bioluminescent flowers. Elliot paused to admire the beauty, the way the flowers responded to his presence with gentle pulses of light. He thought of Earth, of the cities he had left behind, and realized that human ingenuity was not just in technology. It was in creativity, empathy, and problem-solving in unexpected ways. Lyra watched him, sensing his thoughts. "You have taught us something today," she said. "Even without knowing our systems fully, you understood patterns, balance, and the importance of action. That is something humans do naturally." Elliot laughed softly. "Sometimes we fail, but we also adapt quickly. We learn by trying, by observing, and by remembering. Maybe that is why we can contribute even far from home." Lyra smiled warmly. "And that is why you will always be welcome here. Humans and Lunari together, we can achieve more than either of us could alone." As the stars appeared in the sky above Lumira, Elliot felt a sense of accomplishment and belonging. The city had faced a crisis, and through teamwork, understanding, and human ingenuity, they had overcome it. But more than that, Elliot realized the deeper lesson. Connection and cooperation were stronger than any technology, stronger than any challenge. He looked at Lyra. "I never imagined humans could make such a difference here, but now I see we do in our own way. By remembering, caring, and acting, we can leave a mark that lasts. Lyra's eyes shone. Yes, Elliot Kane, and now that you are part of our story, perhaps the universe will see that humans are capable of great good no matter where they go. Elliot smiled, feeling a profound sense of purpose. He had traveled across the stars seeking knowledge, but he had found something even more valuable: the ability to connect, to help, and to inspire. Humans had a place in the universe, not just as explorers, but as partners, teachers, and friends. That night, as Elliot lay beneath the glowing trees of Lumira, he reflected on the day's events. A crisis had arrived, threatening the balance of an entire city. Yet through courage, collaboration, and the power of human ingenuity, they had prevailed. And in that triumph, Elliot realized that humans could bring hope and solutions, even to worlds far beyond their own. Lumira was alive, vibrant, and balanced once more. And Elliot Kane, human among Lunari, knew that his journey, both outward into the stars and inward into understanding, was far from over. The galaxy held countless mysteries, countless challenges, but he now understood something fundamental. Where humans went, empathy, creativity, and courage could follow, and they could change worlds. The morning sun rose slowly over Lumira, painting the city in soft hues of gold. And violet. Elliot Kane stood at the edge of a floating garden, watching streams of glowing water drift gently through the air. The events of the past days replayed in his mind. The discovery of Lyra, the exploration of the city, the crisis he had helped avert, and he felt a sense of wonder that he had never experienced anywhere on Earth. Lyra appeared beside him, her eyes reflecting the light of the rising sun. "Good morning, Elliot," she said softly. "I hope you slept well." "I did," Elliot replied, smiling. "It's hard to sleep with so much to think about, but I feel at peace here, more than I ever have." Lyra nodded. "You have learned much, and you have taught us much as well. Humans leave a mark not by strength or power, but by caring, remembering, and acting when it matters. You have proven that." Elliot adjusted the strap of his backpack, thinking about the small photograph he had carried for so many years. That image of a young Lyra had led him across the stars, and now, standing beside the grown woman she had become, he realized that the bond it symbolized was stronger than he had imagined. "I never thought a single memory could lead to all this," he said quietly. Lyra smiled. "Memories are living things, Elliot Kane. They shape us, guide us, and connect us. The memory you carried has shaped me, given me courage, and strengthened my city in ways you may not even realize." Elliot felt a warmth in his chest. "Then I suppose it worked both ways. You've changed me too. You've shown me what a society can be when it values connection, creativity, and care above all else." Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder. "And now we must make sure that what we have learned together lasts. The city thrives because we remember, act, and connect. And humans bring something special to that balance. Perhaps your presence here can inspire others just as it inspired me." Elliot nodded, thinking of the possibilities. Humans were still young compared to the Lunari, but their curiosity, empathy, and ingenuity could have far-reaching impact. Here, he saw proof that those qualities could not only survive across planets, but could thrive in partnership with an advanced civilization. Lyra led him through the city to the Hall of Memories, where panels glowed softly with the experiences of Lumira's citizens. "This is where we record and preserve our history," she explained. "But now, your story will be part of it as well. Not just the memory of helping me as a child, but the choices, actions, and care you have shown here." Elliot stepped forward, amazed. He saw panels glowing brighter than others, reflecting moments of courage, connection, and creativity. One of the panels displayed him at the energy grids, directing the Lunari to stabilize the system. Another showed him exploring the place of creation, touching the crystals that transformed with his emotions. And at the center, a golden light pulsed softly, showing the moment he had revealed the childhood photograph to Lyra. "It's beautiful," Elliot whispered. "I never imagined memories could feel so alive." Lyra placed a hand on the panel. "They are alive, Elliot. And because of you, our city remembers not just what was done, but the spirit behind the actions. That is what makes memories powerful." Elliot felt a profound sense of connection. On Earth, people recorded events, but they rarely considered the energy, care, and thought behind them. Here, every action mattered, and every memory shaped the present and future. After leaving the Hall of Memories, Lyra guided Elliot to a quiet courtyard. The soft glow of the flowers reflected in her eyes as she spoke. Elliot, there is one more thing I wish to give you before you leave Lumira. Something to remember this journey and to remind you that humans leave lasting marks in the universe. From her hand, she produced a small luminescent token, the size of a pebble, engraved with the image of the photograph Elliot had carried for so long. It glowed softly, pulsing with warmth. "This is for you," she said. "A reminder that your memory, care, and courage matter. Not just to me, but to all of Lumira." Elliot took the token carefully, feeling its gentle warmth. I don't know what to say," he murmured. "This means more to me than I can explain." Lyra smiled. "You don't need words. Let it remind you that even small actions, carrying a memory, helping someone, taking a risk to do good, can resonate across worlds. You have proven that humans are capable of extraordinary things." Elliot looked around at the city he had grown to love. The floating gardens, the streams of glowing water, the joyful citizens, all of it felt alive and connected. And he realized something important. Humanity's place in the universe was not in dominance or conquest, but in connection, empathy, and action. "I never thought humans could make such a difference here," Elliot said softly. "But now I see we can, not through force, but through care, creativity, and courage." Lyra nodded. "Exactly, and your story will inspire future generations of Lunari and humans alike. The bond you have formed here will last long after today." Elliot felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He had come to Lumira seeking knowledge, but he had found something far greater, the truth of humanity's potential. Humans were not just explorers, they were connectors, teachers, and friends. Over the next few hours, Elliot walked with Lyra through the city, sharing stories of Earth and listening to tales of Lumira. He realized that despite the vast differences between species, the values that mattered most, curiosity, empathy, courage, and memory, were universal. "You know," Lyra said as they rested near a flowing fountain, "I once thought humans were too young, too inexperienced to truly make a difference in the galaxy. But you have changed my mind. Even with limited technology, humans bring something unique: hope, determination, and the power to act when it matters." Elliot smiled. "We make mistakes, sometimes big ones, but we learn, and we try to do better. That's what brought me here. I wanted to see what we could learn and maybe what we could give." Lyra reached out, placing her hand gently over his. "You have given more than you realize. Your presence, your memory, and your care will be remembered. And she paused, her eyes shining softly, "I will never forget you." Elliot felt a lump in his throat. "Nor I you, Lyra, not ever. You started as a memory I carried in a photo, and now you are a part of my life in ways I can't describe." They stood together in silence for a while, watching the city glow in harmony with the rising sun. Elliot felt a connection deeper than anything he had experienced before. Humans could leave marks across the stars, not through conquest or domination, but through memory, action, and care. As the day progressed, citizens of Lumira approached Elliot to thank him personally. Children offered small gifts, elders nodded with respect, and Lyra's friends shared stories of how the city had felt the change in energy, balance, and hope. Elliot realized that his small actions, guided by memory and care, had ripple effects that extended far beyond what he could see. Lyra led him to the edge of the city, where the landing platform awaited. His shuttle was ready to take him back to Earth, but Elliot felt a mix of sadness and pride. He had found a home here, a place that welcomed humans not as conquerors or strangers, but as partners and friends. Before stepping onto the shuttle, Lyra handed him a small bag filled with gifts, seeds that glowed softly, a small crystal from the place of creation, and the luminescent token she had given him earlier. "Take these," she said. "Let them remind you of Lumira and of what humans can give to the universe." Elliot held the bag carefully. "I will, and I will carry the memory of this city and of you with me always." Lyra smiled, her eyes glimmering. "And I will carry the memory of you, Elliot Kane. You have shown us that humans, even far from home, can make a difference in ways we never imagined." The shuttle engines hummed softly as Elliot prepared for departure. He looked out at the city one last time, seeing its glowing gardens, flowing water, and joyful citizens. He realized that Lumira had changed him, just as he had left a mark on it. Humanity had a place in the universe, not only as explorers, but as connectors, thinkers, and friends. As the shuttle lifted into the sky, Elliot thought about the journey ahead. There were countless worlds to explore, countless lives to touch, and countless memories to carry. But he knew one thing with certainty. Wherever humans went, they could leave a lasting impact, not through force, but through empathy, courage, and care. Lyra's words echoed in his mind. Humans bring hope, determination, and the power to act when it matters. And Elliot Kane knew with all his heart that humanity could truly shine among the stars. The shuttle disappeared into the glowing horizon, carrying a human who had remembered, who had acted, and who had connected worlds. And in Lumira, a city of light and life, the story of Elliot Kane and the child he once saved became part of memory forever, a reminder that care, courage, and connection could transcend galaxies. Elliot reached into his pocket and touched the old photograph of Lyra as a child. It was no longer just a memory. It was a bridge, a bond, and a promise. And somewhere in the vast universe, a human and an alien shared a connection that would last for all time.